Now let me get this right. Over 1,000 people had took part in this exercise. So all these people, all this high alert, and still no video shots. Peter Bauer, by the way, served on the advisory board to the Canadian Centre for Emergency Preparedness, together with Richard Schreier, Vice President of Giuliani and Partners, who was previously Commissioner at the New York City Office of Emergency Management and Director of New York City Homeland Security. Coincidentally, Giuliani stated to the 9/11 Commission that the New York Department of Justice biowarfare exercise was scheduled for September 12, 2001, the day following 9/11, which just happened to be close enough to the World Trade Center to immediately move and secure the area. And by the way, the debris was never analyzed despite it being the largest crime scene in U.S. history. Now, I wish to talk about former mayor of New York City, Mr. Giuliani, Verint. One of Verint's directors, Howard Safer, who's a close associate of Mr. Giuliani, and the New York Firemen's Union. Mr. Giuliani came into the picture again during the London bombings because he was near where one of the bombs went off the morning of the London bombings. And Mr. Giuliani is currently under fire from the Firemen's Union, as documented on the website Rudy Urban Legend, for it was due to his poor leadership that they say that their brothers from the New York Fire Department died on 9/11.
He was running on his 9/11 leadership, and there was lacking and there was none.
Whenever I hear him talk, I want to scream out to the world and say, God, he's so full of it.
Because the buck stops at the mayor's office.
It goes up to the top. You know, who's in charge here?
Mr. Giuliani.
They attacked us in '93.
And yet 8.5 years later, New York City firefighters, the greatest fire department in the world, we're using the same radios that we knew didn't work.
We have remains of dead heroes out at the garbage dump because of Giuliani and his administration. And they're still there today, and they won't remove them.
And this guy had politics and his image much more important than the needs of firefighters and their families.
As early as 1993, during the first World Trade Center bombing, these firemen knew that Motorola's communication radios weren't operating properly, but still, through no bid and no field testing, they were given the same radios that didn't work. And in a 1994 report, it was confirmed that the radios didn't work, but Giuliani took 7 years to replace them, but with more defective radios. For his defense against his critics, Giuliani has appointed no other than Verint's director, New York City's first Jewish police commissioner, Mr. Howard Safer, as his national chair for first responders. Safer was recently on TV as saying that it's easy to criticize Giuliani for his conduct. Hindsight is 20/20, and that radios don't always work through concrete. Oh, really? Giuliani appointed Howard Safer to run the New York Fire Department in 1994 and then in 1996 as his New York Police Commissioner. The New York Daily News' Greg B. Smith stated that Mr. Safer has made millions recounting the terrorist attacks of 9/11. Smith continues, Howard Safer has leveraged his former cop status into multiple contracts and corporate positions related to the fallout of 9/11. Verint has given him 10,000 shares, worth around $300,000, and his firm, Safer Rossetti, was hired by Larry Silverstein as a security consultant in his battle with insurers over the World Trade Center. Silverstein, for those who don't know, became the primary owner of World Trade Center towers less than 2 months prior to 9/11. Luckily, through his insurance policy, he was able to pocket a handsome stash of cash. The New York Daily News goes on further to say that Safer, during his time as police commissioner, approved a no-bid contract to Bold Technology to handle DNA analysis of a backlog of rape evidence, a firm whose parent company, ChoicePoint, Safer would consult for following his duties as police commissioner. And weeks after 9/11, Bold was hired by the New York City medical examiner to create DNA profiles from human remains from ground zero. And 4 months after leaving his position as police commissioner, he persuaded ChoicePoint to buy Bold, and not long after, he became CEO of Bold Technology. And by the way, this firm of Howard Safer Rossetti, was also hired to field calls reporting construction fraud at Ground Zero. And another company I was to talk about now also is another company of Converse, which is Autogo. Arutz Shiva reported that Autogo, an instant messaging service, alerted their employees that there was going to be an impending attack on Lower Manhattan shortly before 9/11. And Autogo, by the way, in January of 2001, several months before 9/11, a major stake was purchased by Converse into Autogo. And then also in May of 2002, Converse bought Autogo for $20 million.